Welcome to Real Estate 360 with real estate expert Kenn Renner. Kenn Renner, a busy man. Real estate agents all across Central Texas are very, very busy because the market continues to be on fire. You told us this was going to happen over a year ago before the pandemic. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But every month I keep thinking, oh, the numbers they're going to even out. They're the peak. That's the peak. And then you come back in a month later and I find out, Sandy, you don't know anything. You're wrong again.
Well, yeah, that's the case really here. We're looking at back in December, January. I saw what was coming up. You were experiencing it, those where we had to put offers in. There was 96 offers on one house, 152 offers on another house. And I'm saying, to Sandy, these numbers are always a few months behind. I said, so in January podcast, I said, watch what happens in February and March to what the values of properties because of what's really happening. And we're seeing bids of anywhere more than 10 to 20% over asking price on up, and we're gonna see. And people are chasing this market up. There's some great things about it, and there's some sad things about it, and we're going to talk about that because we can go over the numbers. But Elon Musk is the one that last February, a couple months ago, talked on the Joe Rogan podcast that Austin's going to be the biggest boom town in that the United States has seen in the last 40 years, 50 years.
Right.
So when that happened, I mean, when Elon speaks, everybody listens. So
yeah. Do you happen to know what 40 years ago, what the city was? What was?
A lot smaller.
No. What was the previous big boom town 40 years ago that he's saying? Elon said in 40 years, what was the city back in 40 years?
Oh, probably LA.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
probably
where they're building freeways before everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's just saying that no one's going to see what he's predicted here is actually what's happening. And the problem is that he's also built this huge billion-dollar facility that's going in. The jobs are already being created. Where are those guys going to live?
Right.
Now, the median income for Elon, for Tesla, for the line workers and everything is about $50,000 a year, and that's going to translate to maybe $1,800 a month in qualifying power, maybe $2,000 a month for an average home buyer. There's no homes in that area, or in our area, that very little that can afford. So I think he needs to start not only producing, trucks, but he can produce houses off that line.
Right.
I mean, wouldn't that be great?
Because they're not going to live in Austin. The people that work there, they can't afford it. They're not going to be able to buy anything. We're going to show you the numbers in just a moment about what the cost in the city limits is.
And that's kind of a sad thing for those that are first-time home buyers, which I made a great living helping them through the 90s. No one else wanted to help them back in that day, and I was the one that would step in and help educate them and get them into home buying. And that's what happened when I started seeing that. I'm like going, these little homes would be great rentals.
Right.
And that's what started me selling over almost $500 million in investment property over the last 30 years.
Nice.
So, what I'm looking at now is that I'm worried about the next generation, like my daughter, who's 21. How is she going to be able to afford it?
Right.
We kind of went down those numbers. I said, with what you're doing your school teaching, you're doing your music. Okay, you make about $50,000 a year. This is what you're going to qualify for. And we're going to go over that. And it's not enough to qualify to live here. So we're seeing a lot of my, I call them now expatriates for Austin.
Yeah.
I sold them a house 20 years ago. They've made a boatload. One lady, I sold it to her for $79,000 in 1995. She called me up and I said, that's going to probably go for $790. and she's like, but I can't afford the taxes anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to retire. She's a teacher. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to sell, then you're going to be buying back into the same market. And that's part of the problem. People are like, oh, no, I could sell, but where am I going to move to?
Right.
And that's causing even more of the shortage. So let's go ahead and just jump into the numbers and talk about it because it's pretty exciting, pretty interesting. So as we see February stats, which we didn't get to last podcast because I've been too busy helping clients. February was 395, up 22% for the Austin Round Rock MSA.
Wow.
And 0.4 month supply. So about 2 weeks supply of houses for the whole area. Okay, we're talking about nearly 2 million people.
Yeah.
We go to March, and this is where it gets really alarming and exciting at the same time if you own real estate here, is up 28% in March from the previous year. 28, almost 30%.
Wow.
And new listings are only up 1%. Once again, a 0.4 month supply of houses. Just to give a little city of Austin city limits look, that's 514,000, over $500,000 now for a median price house.
$500,000.
Remember, we were buying houses in the 80s for like 75,000. Right?
I think this is worth addressing too. Is that if you're watching this or listening to this and you're on either coast, $514,000 may not sound like a lot to you, but for people that have been in Austin for a long time, that's a lot. I mean, it just seems. I never thought this city would do this.
Well, one of the biggest things about Austin over the years has been the affordability factor. That's one of the quality of life that
exactly.
people moved here for.
Right.
And now that particular situation, that affordability factor is going out the window.
Yeah.
We're going up at 2% per month. So a $500,000 house is going up $10,000 per month. That's more than most people make, for sure.
Right.
So just owning it is watching people up. And I want to thank my clients for those that believed in me and bought over the years. I mean, hundreds and hundreds have bought these properties, especially in the last 2 years, what Austin's done for your net worth. In fact, I've sold over $400 million worth of houses over my career. And you can imagine just that going up 10%, or I've helped created millions of dollars in equity.
I was going to say, do you got a back end deal on this with your clients?
If I had $1 for every
right. Williamson County.
Williamson County. You got to go to Williamson County.
Right.
This is where I live. This is the Northwest Tech Corridor. People commute in from here to for Apple and domain. I mean, the domain area, and so which is Facebook and it's eBay, PayPal, Facebook, and the whole
Airbnb,
HomeAway. Yeah. Well, now it's VRBO.
Right.
Indeed's there, but up 40%.
40% in Williamson County.
400. I figured that out. I was like, that means last year it was 260, 270.
Yeah.
It's up 40%. 0.2 months supply of houses. That's about a week.
Yeah, about
6
a week.
days.
Yeah.
6 days at 0.2 months. The house that I sold, I mean, that we presented in the last podcast, I was putting it on the market.
Yeah.
And that $980 is the price that we put it.
Yeah.
It sold well over asking
really?
price. Yeah, we literally had an open house, and that the day after the podcast, we did the open house, and we had literally people. I was a traffic cop, put it that way.
Really?
Yeah, please go over that way, and please. Well, it was like it was like there was at least 30 people in the house at any one time,
and all serious
$1 million houses.
Wow.
$1 million house. So, and that went well over. I can't say it yet because it hasn't closed, but it went well over asking price, and I had already priced it high to begin with. So
good.
So yeah. So I want to also give a hats off to Hayes County, which is our south end, which is Buda, Kyle. Those are the little towns south of Austin, and look at that, it's gone up 25% with a 0.4 month supply of housing on the market that's available.
Yeah.
And who would have thought the 350 was going to be a Buda, Kyle?
Right. I know, because I remember when there was so much new construction out there, and I was like, who's going to live here?
Yeah, and so I get a lot of my clients going, well, really? Is Kyle really a good place to invest? And I'm like, yes. And so that's the area where we sold. I mean, I didn't sell. I sold about 12 of them, but they sold 52 houses in one weekend, actually in one day.
Wow.
50. That was in Caseta Ranch down in Kyle. So that's kind of where we're at, and that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. So where are the people that are going to work at Tesla making $50,000 a year that need to buy a $300,000 house? Where are they going to live? They're going to have to. They're not going to live in Austin. Or they're going to have to roommate, or however they're going to do it. So there's some other there's other shining areas that are worth looking at. And Bastrop County, which is southeast of Austin, that is near the Tesla facility, and they only had a 5% price appreciation.
There's your spot. Bastrop's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
You've got the beginning of the Bastrop Pines there.
The pines.
We're seeing the growth come back from the fires 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, it's a beautiful place. Yeah. It's right at the Colorado River. I mean, it's
was it the Lost Pines?
Lost Pines is
hotel
there.
there.
Been there
Beautiful.
forever. Bastrop's a nice little town.
It is, and it's about
is.
25 minutes from Tesla. But I'm going to tell you that watch those stats in future podcasts.
Yeah.
And we usually don't go to the other counties. There's 5 counties in Austin. Williamson, Travis, Hayes are the 3 biggest, but Bastrop is southeast, and we are selling homes in there, and you can still see it's affordable, but that's changing. That area is being overrun by people trying to get ahead of the Tesla wave.
Yeah.
And Caldwell is deep southeast, Caldwell County, deep southeast Austin Metro, and this is worth looking at too. You can buy a house for $250. Not a whole lot there. Some good barbecue in Lockhart. And Lockhart's a little town there, but that's
kind of famous for it.
Yeah. So in essence, we are asking, what are we going to be able to do to help the affordability factor in Austin? We have a housing crisis going on here.
Which you called, again, I know I keep saying that, but pre-pandemic you said we're going to have a housing crisis here shortly.
Yeah.
And here it is, friends. It's here.
So what happens when you run out of housing? In other words, we're now seeing in our lease properties, we're seeing bidding wars for rental property.
Yeah.
The house that I rented in Oak Brook when I moved to Liberty Hill, I listed it for $2,900. I got an offer for $3,200 a month for the rent. And now that's starting to become astronomical. I mean, they're offering $500 a month more. Great to be a landlord these days. Thank you guys for investing with me.
Yeah.
And so really the dynamic, as you said, I've always been able to get ahead of the wave, get ahead of the predictions, and that's why people invest in working with me, is because where's the next place to go? And so the only thing that's going to happen is it's like this wave, and especially with our investors, a wave of building and everything's gone further out. People have to go further out. They have to drive to affordability. And we've already been there. A lot of our clients are buying houses in the areas of affordability where they can actually get a home and live a good lifestyle and not be priced out. But still, how do I get to be near Austin? So you just look at the I-35 corridor and some of the areas we were talking about, Caldwell County and Bastrop County, but there's other areas. New Braunfels is an amazing place.
It is.
And northwest San Antonio.
San Marcos.
San Marcos, Waco, Temple, Belton, Killeen.
Marble Falls.
Marble Falls. And that's, I was just out there yesterday. And so that's kind of the problem, is that people that are living in Austin, I get a lot of these expatriate people that are like been here for 25 years, 20 years, sold them their house many years ago, or multiple houses. They're like, Ken, I want to sell my house. We're going to make a ton of money on it, but I don't know where we'll move to. I don't know where we're going to go.
Sure.
And that's causing even more of a shortage. So one of the solutions we came up with is, I got a lady who's retiring, but her husband is working for LCRA, can't move for another couple of years. So still got to commute to downtown. And so we're looking at, she's going to sell her house, cash out, pay off all her debt, make a huge amount of money on this Round Rock house, and then rent the house back for a couple of years. She becomes the tenant.
Right.
And she likes it because she doesn't have to move, don't have to worry about the pets.
Right.
The investors like it because they have an automatic tenant for a couple of years. And who knows what the values are going to do in the next couple of years.
Right.
So it's a win-win for them. So people are forced to move towards affordability. So first of all, if they can't buy in this market, they're going to rent. And that's where we're seeing bidding wars on the renting. Second thing is they'll drive further out to get to housing. And so that's what we're working with. That's what we're focusing on, especially with our investors, is going where we can actually, get to where we can have homes where we can actually buy.
Right.
Because a lot of the builders aren't selling at all. They've shut down sales completely. Now going to blind auctions. And even in our submarkets, they're starting to go to blind auctions.
Wow.
So it's kind of sad for the people that can't afford to go $20,000, $40,000 over, but it's definitely great for the people that own property and building equity, and that's what we do. That's that's our business plan for what we do. Hopefully it won't end up like this picture that I took in Santa Clara when I was out there last year in February, where people end up having the policemen and service workers at the hotels are living on the streets in RVs, and so
in this country.
in this country.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that a while back last year. I said, hey, just get in the RV and drive here because we have affordable housing. Now, hopefully that whole wave of California money and East Coast money doesn't drive this place to the point of the problems that they had there. And that's my prayer for sure. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, that's a concern. It's a legitimate concern.
Yeah. But their money's already here.
Yeah,
and that's supply and demand, and they're driving up the equity of the world is moving here, so it's going to drive up prices.
Yeah.
And so you have to find somebody like us that knows exactly where to throw the dart with investment properties that we sell, plus the move ups and the move downs. I have pocket listings coming soon of these same people that I said that were expatriates of Austin. They're just looking for their next place to move to, but they want to sell their house now. So if you want to get ahead of that wave and get a hold of my coming soon properties, just connect with me. Kenn at buyaustin.com, Kenn with 2 N's. You can also use my online scheduler, which is callkenn.com. Call Kenn with 2 N's.com. That's an online scheduler, and I'll schedule an appointment and talk to you. All right, Sandy?
All right, Ken, good seeing you, man. I know you're busy, got a million things going on. We'll do it again next month.
Never too busy to talk to you, and never too busy to help a client get a home of their dreams.